The hallmark of a true pro or a professional is you take the the hard stuff, the things that you would think that are really, really difficult to do, and you make it look really, really easy. When you do that, then you can say you're a pro. People would say, well, it's because you get paid. You're a pro when you get paid to do what you're supposed to do. That is true, technically. But in terms of living a life, you become a quote-unquote pro when you're able to take hard things and make them look easy. When you make things look easy, number one, you get admirers and you get respect a lot quicker. And not that other people's opinions matter, but that respect factor does matter when you're trying to level up. Man, you've done this yourself. I've done this myself. I watch somebody do something, just in my mind, man, that's pretty incredible. But he makes it look so easy, or she makes it look so easy. How do you do that? It doesn't look like you're trying at all, right? When that happens, with that respect, you get this aura of being a little mythical, right? Where you become more memorable. Because then 2-3 days later, or a week later, or a month later, man, remember that dude that did that crazy thing, but he made it look so easy? So you stay in people's minds a little bit longer, right? And that's about traction, about you, your personality, what you can do, your abilities, your skill, right? When you become a quote-unquote pro about the things you do, how you carry yourself. Yo, what is up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Yan Nguyen, and as my friends affectionately call me Ninja or Prolific Ninja, because my fans and my friends, you can call me Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the Alpha to the Omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, motivation, success, self-improvement, entrepreneurship, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Glad to be back in the studio. Episode 73. I'm a little bit weary this morning back in the studio because last night, inspired by the movie Gran Turismo. If you haven't seen it yet, you should go watch it. It is a fantastic movie. But the crux of the movie is they take e-simulator race car drivers and turn them into real race car drivers. Great movie, great storyline. But in that regard, because I drive a supercar, I'm in a supercar group. And our supercar group created an e-sim league. And so last night we tested one out. Never been in a simulator before like that. It's pretty awesome. If you have a chance to get into a simulator, race car simulator, you should do so. It is pretty awesome. It's where the screens wrap around your whole body. You're in there, steering wheel just like pro. The feedback that the tactical dynamics, everything. The haptic feedback is what I'm looking at. The haptic feedback on the steering wheel, I mean, it's so realistic. But anyway, because of the torsion and the force of real life simulation driving, my shoulders and arms and forearms really, really sore, man. I'm surprised. But anyway, back in the studio, despite that little diatribe, I want to let y'all know that I start my podcast as I start my day with an expression of gratitude. So, to all of you listeners out there on video, on audio, Spotify, iTunes, if you're new to the show or if you've been listening to the show, thank you so very much for listening. Thank you. We can't grow the show, share the inspiration, share our mission of inspiring billions of lives around the planet without your participation. So thank you so much for sharing the show, liking, commenting, subscribing, following, all the above. And if you're new to the show, I do the show on my own dime, on my own time. No sponsors. I spend a lot of money on my guy. I spend a lot of money on the video editing. I spend a lot of time here creating content for you all. And so the only way this show can gain traction and continue to grow is if you share the show. And so I like to say, if your knowledge swole, share the show. That's how we grow, which means if you find value in this episode or any other episode, please do share the show. More importantly, also, please do leave comments, reviews, rank us, rate us on Spotify, iTunes. That helps us gain traction and move up in the rankings in terms of podcasts. So thank you very much for everyone out there and helping us achieve our mission. But this particular episode, my son's been to a few camps recently, gotten a lot of positive feedback from the coaches. I'm very, very proud of the work he puts in. But every time I tell him, I say, keep grinding to keep shining. You got to keep grinding to keep shining, which brings me back to very, very early on. When he and I had a conversation, he says, Dad, I want to say when he was like in fourth grade or something like that. He's a junior right now. He's like, Dad, you make everything look so easy. And my knee-jerk reaction was, well, that's because I'm a pro, son. I'm a pro. And what did that actually mean? You see, the hallmark of a true pro or a professional is you take the easy, the hard stuff, the things that you would think that are really, really difficult to do, and you make it look really, really easy. When you do that, then you can say you're a pro. People would say, well, it's because you get paid. You're a pro when you get paid to do what you're supposed to do. That is true, technically. But in terms of living a life, you become a quote-unquote pro when you're able to take hard things and make them look easy, right? The easy examples, professional athletes. They take, Steph Curry, if you're a basketball person, that, he shoots from half court, like, makes it look so, as they would say, Steffortless. So effortless, so easy. Or Tiger Woods, driving a golf ball 360 yards down, straight down right into the middle of the fairway, like equidistant to both sides, making it look easy. Great speakers, they take very, very difficult concepts, and this is in the lawyering. If you're a litigator, or the litigators, the great lawyers that I've observed, they take very complex things and explain them in a very simplified way that anybody can understand. Our expression as lawyers, explain complicated things such that a 5-year-old could understand it, right? You're taking complex fact patterns, complex law, complex examples, complex contract terms, but you're I don't want to say dumbing it down, but you're filtering it down, simplifying it into easy understand concepts. When you're able to do these things, then you can say you're a pro. And often you will get paid for that because you're doing things very few people can do, which is turn complex things into easy, understandable, observable things, making it look effortless, right? And so what I want to challenge you in this podcast is to become a professional about your life. Life is complicated, very, very complicated. Relationships, jobs, vocation, things you have to do. Try to make those things look easy, right? Try to make your chosen profession, what you do for a living, look easy. And why is that? Because when you make things look easy, number one, you get admirers and you get respect a lot quicker. And not that other people's opinions matter, but that respect factor does matter when you're trying to level up. Man, you've done this yourself. I've done this myself. I watched somebody do something, just in my mind, man, that's pretty incredible. But he makes it look so easy, or she makes it look so easy. How do you do that? It doesn't look like you're trying at all, right? When that happens, with that respect, you get this aura of being a little mythical, right? Where you become more memorable. Because then 2-3 days later, or a week later, or a month later, man, remember that dude that did that crazy thing, but he made it look so easy? So you stay in people's minds a little bit longer, right? And that's about traction, about you, your personality, what you can do, your abilities, your skill, right? When you become a quote-unquote pro about the things you do, how you carry yourself. And so what does it take to become a pro? Two main things. And they're actually interrelated. So it's 1 and 1A. What it takes to become a pro is very simple. Hard work. There's a famous quote from Damian Lillard, who is the all-star Hall of Famer point guard from Portland Trail Blazers. Sorry for all of the basketball analogies. But I'm paraphrasing his quote. Like, how do you always hit the big time shots? How do you always, are successful when it matters, when the lights are on? And his quote, or his response that I'm paraphrasing, is that because I'm willing to put in all the work when the lights are off, when no one's watching. No one sees me put in all the thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, the millions of shots at game speed and game scenarios. No one sees that. But when the lights come on and everybody's watching, the shots go in. I remember a shot, several playoffs ago, very competitive series in a playoff series. I want to say game 7 or elimination game to the other team. He's at half court almost. Clock is counting down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He just heaves it up from half court, makes the bucket, contested by, I think, Paul George. And sends Paul, eliminates I think they were with the Clippers at the time. And so he makes that shot in the hottest, highest pressure moment, makes it look really, really easy because he's put in thousands and thousands of hours when no one's watching. And that leads me back to my, what I tell my son all the time, keep grinding to keep shining. You got to put in that work. You got to put in that work to become a professional, right? In my profession, in the legal profession, how do the great lawyers, how do they simplify complex concepts in a very, very easy, understandable way for the jury to get on their side of the argument? It's not like they wake up one day and they think, oh, this is how I should say it, although that happens a lot of times. But that happens a lot of times after the work has been put in ahead of time, because I do this myself. It's like, okay, here are facts A through Q, all these facts that I need to simplify into a storyline that's easy to understand for the jury. And I'm writing down hundreds of different ways I can say it, hundreds and hundreds of ways. Okay, I'm going to put it in 5 sentences, 1 paragraph. Now let me take the 5 sentences. Maybe I can say the same thing in 4 sentences, using simpler words that can remove 3 or 4 or 5 words that I had in my first edit, and re-edit and sit about and think about and meditate, and hours like, maybe I should say it this way. And maybe I should say it this way. Take it down the hall to another attorney. Man, I'm trying to do this. What do you think if I say it this way? I'll get feedback. Why don't you say it that way? And just grinding out in my mind how to structure a sentence, which particular words to use, which words carry the intent or the implication or the implied meanings that I want in order to simplify it down. So then I get from 5 sentences, maybe just 2 sentences. Easy to understand, gets the point across, gets the right reaction that I want from a jury or from the audience or from the witness. It takes that level of work to make things look simple. But again, that is when you become a pro. So when you want to become a pro about your own personal life, it takes the hard work, it takes the structure, it takes the discipline. But then it becomes very, very easy. And what happens when you put in the work? And after you become a pro, your life actually becomes more fun and easier to live. Because what happens? You see, for me, I like to put in the work early so that I have more time or more space to have fun later, if that makes sense, right? If I've got things I got to do today and I knock them out before noon, well, that gives me the whole afternoon to do whatever the hell I want. Usually it's more work, or usually it's putting more time into things that I know needs work on, but there's no pressure. There's no stress involved. Once I get the things that I need to do, the must-do tasks ahead of time, done earlier. So when you accept the fact that I've got to do work and understand that that is just part of the process, and know in your mind and in your being, in your heart and your soul, that nothing good comes except without, well, I said that wrong. Nothing good comes without the work, and understanding that you just got to put in the work. Once you accept that, your life becomes infinitely easier and much more fun. Because there's two ways to look at it. I'm going to put in the work so I can achieve my goals, or and have more free time and more luxury and more opportunity later. Or, damn, this sucks. I got to put in work. Right? There's two polar opposite vibes. One is positive reinforcing, self-fulfilling, rewarding. It releases different neurotransmitters, neurochemicals in your brain for optimism and dopamine. And hey, if I do this, I'm going to have a fun, easier life and more reward and more time to do things I really want to do. On the opposite, negative, detracting, heavy, weighing, oh man, I got to put in work. Are you motivated to put in work after you say, oh man, I got to put in work? No. Infinitely no. And so the point being is, accept that into your life. Know you got to put in the work. It makes life easier, more rewarding, more fulfilling, and you get the perception that you're a pro. And so that goes back to the very beginning, man. When people look at you and you're like, man, he's got a supercar, a mansion, he always has a good time with friends. He's always eating at the fancy places, drinking the finest things, cigars, has the nicest watches, but he doesn't look like he's working. Right? That kind of creates that legendary status. It creates that mythical, man, what does he do for a living? It creates that urge and attraction about you. But the reality is you're putting in a hell of a lot of work. Just people don't see it. And that's the hard part, my friends, is doing the work when no one's watching. You see true pros like Damian Lillard, no. Like Steph, like Tiger Woods. I remember there's a story. It's like pouring outside, dumping rain, and he's still out there hitting golf balls. No one around, no cameras, nobody but him and his mind and his own thoughts. And that's the level of work and discipline it takes. Everybody wants to be the showboat when people are watching. But can you put in the grind when no one's watching? You have to overcome that aspect in order to become a pro. And that's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. So I urge you to challenge yourself in this particular episode. At some point now or in the future, leading into the end of the year, I talked, I think, on my last podcast about gaining momentum in the end of the year. Focus on becoming a pro about your life. Set an example. Create that standard for yourself. If you have kids, I promise you, they're going to look up to you. Kids learn by example, not by being told what to do. They learn by observing and copying. That's the simplest way to learn. So if you set that standard for yourself and become a pro of your own life, then you're creating a good example for your kids. So, just like how I started the podcast, my son would be like, dang, Dad, how do you make it look so easy? And I, jocularly, I was like, yeah, because I'm a pro. But the reality is I'm a pro about certain things about my life. And you can be too. But all you got to do is put in the hard work, especially when no one is watching. So speaking about momentum, speaking about becoming a pro, like I told you, I'm going to start 75 hard this weekend to get that momentum into the holiday season, into the end of the year, so that I start 2024 on a full sprint. So starting this weekend, going to start 75 hard. I think Saturday, if I have my calendar right, which lets me finish 75 hard right on November 31st and start into December with full momentum, clarity of mind, and so forth. It's gonna kind of suck because Thanksgiving, it's going to be festive, but, I'll have to maintain that discipline. No pumpkin pie, no sweet potato pie, no old fashions, no whiskey, etc. But there's a bigger goal, a bigger purpose to this, which is mental clarity, momentum, sprinting into the end of the year, sprinting at the start of the year. So while everybody's just getting started, I'm already at full speed, gaining momentum and getting even faster. So if you're interested to join me in my 75 hard starting this Saturday, DM me and I'll put you into an accountability group where we keep each other accountable. If we don't see it, didn't happen. So you got to show your book, got to show your exercise, etc. Respectful selfies in the accountability group. So if you're interested, please do message me, DM me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and we can put you in that 75 hard accountability group. Beware though, if you're in the group, you got to show the accountability, because if not, you're going to get kicked out of the group, because we don't want that negative vibes about people complaining and bitching and, oh, this is so hard, can't do it kind of deal. We will provide encouragement in the group, but, be respectful in the group. So anyway, 75 hard. It's all about becoming a pro about your life. Do that. Challenge yourself. I'll look forward to it. Give me your feedback. Let me know your stories. Would love to highlight you in my social media. If you're working on becoming a pro about your life, remember, all it takes is putting in the hard work when no one's watching. Sounds simple, very, very hard to do. Once again, this is the End-to-End Podcast. If you found value in this show, I do this on my own dime, on my own time. So please, if you found value, like, comment, follow, share, subscribe, leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That's the best way we can grow, best way to continue to gain traction as we look towards the end of 2023, moving into 2024 with some strong momentum. Thank you as always. And I always conclude my show as I conclude my day with an expression of gratitude. Thank you so much for listening, following, sharing. If you're knowledgeable, share the show. That's how we grow. And as always, be great today, be even more grateful. And as part of being grateful for my people following on Facebook, thank you so much. We just reached 10,000 followers on Facebook. And I know a lot of y'all are commenting, DMing me, sharing the post. Thank you so much. Just on Facebook, 10,000 followers. That's crazy. Did not expect this to happen. It takes a whole village, right? And you're part of that village now. So thank you so very much for being part of the End-to-End Nation. What's up?